Hello, it's Rover time. And what have I got planned today? Headlining. It is bitterly cold. It was -5 earlier today. But my headlining came. This sagged, basically. The material had come away for some time. And I've got from Aldridge a lovely fiberglass backed headlining that's pre-trimmed as we would know them to be. We one of the things in this car, it's always been the case, is you might notice there's no grab handles. So when this car 20 years ago was rebuilt, some things went back on the, I've got the these things and so on. Some things went back on, other things didn't. So there's that. Also, it's a little bit manky, a little bit mouldy. I did have a water problem a short time ago. Condensation, if anything. It's not really water getting in the car or whatever. That's what the bucket of cat litter is there for, which basically, well, it solved the problem really. It was just moisture when the snow was here. To all intents and purposes, as far as I'm concerned or aware, the car isn't actually leaking anywhere, although I am a little bit worried about the scuttle, I think, as most SD1 owners are. And also the that corner there where some of the sealant has sort of parted. But I've had one windscreen replacement. I can always get another and so on. Yeah, it looks like I mean, this is sort of cardboard, isn't it? I mean, it's just well, these are going to come off, and I can always glue them back. Araldite is amazing for that. So that's the plan. I've got to do it today as well, even in this cold, because it's a really great big box, and I'm getting told off quite a lot for having a big box in the living room. So I'm sure many classic car enthusiasts can attest to that. So what's first? The first task of the day is the grab handles. I've got them up my parts bin. Quite glad that they were relatively easy to find. So they need cleaning up because they're quite grubby, and that's going to be the first job of the day. So I've been washing these and they've come up much better. I might do them a little bit more, but you can see how dirty these were. Put that back in there. And then how clean they're coming up. So that's going to look quite nice on the car. I think I need to do a little bit more scrubbing. A little bit stubborn dirt, but I'll keep going and get these looking really nice. So the process is, according to the manual, I'm going to remove the A-pillar trim, remove the D-pillar trim, and then, well, grab handles aren't even there. So then the sun visors, can't really get that down with my gloves on, so cold. Sun visors, the rear view mirror, there's a clip at the back, and then the whole thing should drop off the Velcro. So held it with Velcro apparently. Drop off the Velcro, and withdraw through the boot. Should be simple and straightforward, he says. Actually, I think whilst I've got things like the A-post covers off, it's a good idea to do an inspection. And things are looking okay there. Checking for a bit of water ingress. Is it moist, damp there or anything? That's the drain for the sunroof. I've then got, looking at this pad here, I was wondering why there was a bit of foam missing at the bottom, and it's they've been curled up like that. So I'm going to take that inside and I shall re-glue the A-post A-pillar trim. I know I've got a problem on that side as well because it's peeling. Interesting, there's parcel tape on here. I wonder if that's just to keep it down, keep it together. Anyway, I'll take this inside. I can do a little bit of work on these whilst I've got the car apart. Passenger A-post is fine. It's just the trim that needs dealing with. What have we got here? A little bit of surface rust. Doesn't look like it's ever been painted. I can also see, when I'm going to replace this boot seal, I can also see that that's cracked. Bit of moisture at the top. That's annoying because that's the window seal. It's got the window in it. But what we've got, that's just creeping sealant from when I had problems a few years ago. Trying to solve a problem with that, but otherwise not looking too bad. Just a touch of surface rust up there. But I do have an aim and intention to get car resprayed at some point. That window comes out, that'll get attended to. Nothing to worry about there, I don't think. Things would appear to be better on this side. We've got no surface rust that I can see. Here's the drain, there's the cable for the sunroof, the automatic sunroof. So, yeah, this looks okay. I'm not going to take this off, but this is warped, and there is potential for, there's a gentleman who's been making fiberglass ones of these, which could then get covered, or try the wet it and press it method and see if I can get it to reshape, but that's for another day. Next up is the sun visor. That's nice and easy. Then we've got the catch there. Inside is a screw, so that should be fairly easy to take out. Wasn't expecting the rear view mirror to be quite so tricky. Also, I was kind of expecting there to be 2 screws in there. That's a bit of a surprise. But it would appear you just tug on it and there's a spring that holds it in place. I've been reading around, you know, removing it from its ball and that sort of thing, but I suppose I'm replacing the whole thing. So anyway, that's off now, so I can go there, undo that, and I'm probably ready to retract the headlining. Typical garage manual style, it doesn't really talk about the sunroof, and I've got a feeling that this here holds the headlining in place to the sunroof aperture. Of course, it also says remove the disconnect the battery, so it's going to be a pain to put the battery back on again to remove this piece of trim. There's also contemplating, when the kit came with a piece of cloth for the sunroof, does that mean I've got to remove the cassette to do this? That itself will also be somewhat annoying, but I'm going to get the electrics back on, put the sunroof back, and take from there. Alright, so took a while to work out how to remove these clips on the end. Turns out you take the rubber off, but as you can see, my rubbers have perished, which is not really very good. But in that box there, I've got more rubbers. So what have I got? Yeah, and these just then hook over, being very careful not to break them in the process. So I'm getting closer, So the back's loose, bits are loose. I think it's just around the middle on the sunroof. All right, got the sunroof open, and we can see that the headlining, like the over trim, let's say, is glued down. So I'm in the process of then removing that, working my way around, and that's freeing it up. There isn't really anything that's holding it in place right now. There we go. So I think that's probably going to be the last thing that then happens to the car. All right, so I wonder if it would be possible to actually do the cassette relatively easily, in a straightforward kind of way. What if it's a case of taking the drains apart? I don't necessarily need to withdraw the cables. Don't know if I need to actually do that or not. Drains, bolts, draw everything down. It's a pretty sturdy piece of kit, but this will need replacing for sure. You can't just take this out. So The other thing as well is, if that's for the grab handle, I don't know if this is why it wasn't on the car. That's for the grab handle. Where is the other part of it? That would be my next question. There's some holes there. There must have been maybe some clips that would have gone in these holes. They're looking about the right place. So I don't know if I need to find something that can sort that out. Yeah, I can see that this is quite clever. Like, this must be how you can raise and lower the entire cassette lining to maybe to get it to fit flush. But it's not too bad. There is moisture in here, but that's to be expected. I've had the thingy going forwards and backwards. Anyway, that's what the old headliner looks like. It seems to be made of a cardboard material. And actually it's got moist over time and then it's sagged as a result. It's stapled on, that's interesting. There's the Velcro. Right, let's make some decisions. So we're running out of time today. I'm in at Halfords and bought some things to start getting the sorting the headlining out. But what I have had to do is replace this boot seal. The new one actually joins in the middle. Well, what I found, I think I might need to redo that bit there. It's lifted, but what I found with door seals was if you sort of pull them out and stretch them, they'll go around. This one always had a chunk exposed about there, which was never particularly great. This one, when I stretched it, I was stretching it as I was putting it on, and I actually had about that much over. So it's not going to be, well, I took it off again and then put it on. But yeah, it's not really quite wanting to go on in some places. I'm not happy with that corner there. That's not very good. I'm going to have to, it's one of those things where you take it off, put it on, take it off, put it on. You know, mallet it down a little bit, but at least I know it should stretch. But I did warm it up in a bucket of hot water. But then I'm kind of thinking, how sensible was it to actually put a slightly wet seal on an area? But I suppose it's an area that does get wet anyway. Anyway, I think I'll have to take it off. I'm gonna have another go at putting it back on. I'm kind of happy with this side. It's when it gets over to there, but I think there might be overspray, which is causing it not to fit. But we shall press on. Although I've got a feeling I'm going to end up having to drop this in order to do that. I noticed there's a seal going around, and in parts it actually lifted and was quite well in the wrong place. You can see here it's not where I think it should be. On the other side it goes round, picks up again over there. So I've been using a screwdriver, just going around and just lifting these things in place. I suspect, I mean, I don't know how this works, but water would end up in there. There's drains, obviously. So this is a bit like a bath, really. But we don't want moisture getting over the sides, and I wonder if that's why, part of the reason why the old headlining went so saggy, if moisture was sloshing around and getting over this seal. So as we're going around and just lifting it in place, and then moving it where it should be. I think next weekend, assuming I've got time, I think it will be a case of undoing these bolts and then dropping the whole thing down, or dropping this down. I don't know if the cassette comes with it, or if the cassette stays in place, but maybe that will give me access to that. I don't know. The garage manual didn't really go into much detail about how the sunroof works. It just says do this, do that, and bolt, away it goes, withdraw, etc. So anyway, I'm starting to run out of time. I'm just gonna have to tidy up. Car's gonna go for some gearbox work this week, so it'll have to be driven in this state. I wonder how noisy it's going to be without headlining.